Cruising isn't always a cruise. Everyone that's ever left the dock has a story. Our story of the hardest part of cruising is a little different. Most cruisers in this part of the world would not consider our struggle to be that big a deal. But our experience exploring Rebecca Spit and the Octopus Islands was when it became obviously clear how seriously underprepared we were for long-term cruising.
So we're coming into Rebecca Spit on Quadra Island, and it looks beautiful, and looks like we're going to go out for a hike.
So you got ready to anchor?
I am.
Let's do it. All right, this time we're not going to forget. We've got to do the anchor alarm. This anchorage doesn't have particularly good holding, so we have to make sure that we actually are held here. Also, our depths are a little bit of an issue. The first time we dropped anchor, we backed up against it, and we ended up being too shallow against the shore, so we had to drop it a little bit deeper. We're now in 50 feet of water, and when we back up, we are out at 17 feet. So that should be good with our overnight low tides. And our only question is, are we holding well here? So fingers crossed.
During July and August, Rebecca Spit can be a very crowded anchorage. Holding here can be a bit sketchy. There are some shallow areas to watch for, but it's a great location for staging before heading further north into the more remote islands.
Here's this big mossy thing you're going to go over right here.
Here. Then we can tie it up to the log.
A popular 1.5-mile walking trail runs the length of the Spit to a large open picnic area, grass playing field, and boat launch. And it seemed like we pretty much had the whole place to ourselves.
All right, dogs are okay on leash. No bicycles. No wine.
The next morning, our anchor had held as expected. Winds were calm and the bay was well protected from swell. Anchoring is not the hardest part of cruising for us. That would soon make itself known.
Good morning. I just had a amazing paddleboard all the way down the inlet here. Met all the neighbors. Met some guy who said he would shoot your drone out of the sky. But we're gonna leave here and head up through Surge Narrows up to Octopus Islands and hang out there for a few days.
To get to the Octopus Islands, we first had to transit Beazley Passage, a narrow, fast current shortcut into Surge Narrows.
So we arrived at Beazley Passage about 15 minutes before slack, which is just about perfect. And right now we're just kind of hanging out waiting for slack. There's another power boat here. It looks like he's waiting and he's going to go through. We might just let him go first. He seems to be a little impatient about things, the way he passed us coming up here.
Although he leaves a big wake.
Well, yeah.
Here we go, 212. We're heading through Beazley Passage. Slack is 214. Supposedly there's a rock in the channel. So you stay to the left?
No, I'm just going to stay in the channel. And that kind of varies a little.
Timing passages for slack and planning for extreme currents is not the hardest part of cruising for us. That was still ahead.
We just finished Beazley Passage. It's a lot like these other passages we've been through. You have to time it for slack and watch out for the rocks and follow the channel through, and easy peasy.
We're heading through Surge Narrows right now, and it is getting smoky out here. I'm trying to figure out where the fires are coming from, but the wind is coming from the northwest, so my guess is Vancouver Island, unfortunately, has some fires, and it's blowing this way.
If the smoke visibility got worse, we're still okay. With detailed charts and radar, we'd still be able to find our way around the tentacles of the Octopus Islands if needed.
Never thought I'd be wearing this again.
Okay, let's drop it here.
Stern tying may have its challenges, but it, too, is not the hardest part of cruising. There's something else. And it'll soon become obvious while we're here in the Octopus Islands. Today we are going to go look for the museum. A hut or cabin on one of the islands. It's supposed to be Octopus Island. And we're going to leave our driftwood boat sign there. And then this afternoon, we're going to try to get the Starlink set up so that we can watch the NFL football game. First, we have to figure out which one of these islands is Octopus Island. And then we're on the hunt for the little hut.
How much battery do we have left on it? Is it good?
69%.
All right, and there it is. We actually found it. It's not that bad, huh?
Cool. Private island.
It is a private island. I was reading online that it sold for $1.7 million.
Oh, wow.
But they allow people to come and do this cruisers museum. All right, just like the last one of these we went to, we're gonna have to look for boats that we know.
That one.
Wow,
Quite the elaborate sign.
wow. Oh, this one is awesome. Look at all this stuff in here. Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's kind of fun. Oh, just open your beer right here.
Every cabin's got to have one of those. That's one that we follow.
That one's cool. And then this one.
Oh, yeah. Wow, really painted.
But they've
They
been
keep
here.
adding to it.
Yeah, I like that. Wow.
Now comes the challenge of finding a spot for our piece of driftwood. All right. So we left our driftwood.
It's very cool. I like actually this one is a little, I don't know, more interesting than the other one. The other one's cool, but
Yeah, I think this one's
more
much
creative. And as you always say,
What do I always say?
it'll be fine.
go find a place to fish.
And catch some dinner.
We're in a pretty good spot, I think. About 40 feet deep, just off of these rocks right here. Why is it that we can't catch fish that are big enough to keep?
Oh,
Okay, this one might be dinner. No, maybe not.
I let go.
I think it did. What do you think?
Well, I had a bite, but I got smart.
While we still have yet to find success with fishing in the Pacific Northwest, it too is still not the hardest part of cruising for us.
All right, so we just barely got the drone back in time, almost completely out of batteries, but we did get it back. And that brings up an issue that we have been dealing with on this entire trip, really, which is recharging batteries. So it turns out, at least for us, cruising is mostly pretty easy. The hard part is managing recharging all the batteries that we have on board. We have only 200 amp hours of battery power available on the boat itself.
That's just 100 amps on which to run our refrigerator, lights, navigation, radio and all boat systems, plus our power hog Starlink. As we run our own online business from the boat when we're on board, we have to have the Starlink running. Plus, we have to keep all of our external device batteries recharged.
So it's a constant battle to keep these batteries charged.
With everything running, we use up our house battery charge in about 4 hours, which usually means about 4 hours of running the engine per day just to recharge the boat's house batteries with the alternator. We just can't keep doing this if we want to do any real long-term cruising in the future.
That's really the biggest challenge for us.
Real-time update. We're presently adding battery capacity to Indigo with new lithium batteries and solar panel charging on top of the Bimini. While it may not completely solve our total power needs, we're hoping it will significantly reduce the many hours we previously had spent running the engine at anchor just to recharge.
To follow more of our adventures, click to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at SailingSVIndigo.